The other side. The boy who fell twice. The school morning began by asking nothing important of Yasmin. That was its first kindness. At the nearest work table, Kessa had spread 2 sheets of rough paper between them and was trying to decide whether a line that leaned slightly left was a mistake in her hand or a mistake in the ruler. The ruler was an old one, timber-backed with a dull metal edge set into it, worn pale where hundreds of fingers had held it over the years. It is the ruler, Kessa decided. Yasmin looked at the line. You moved your hand. Then the ruler encouraged me. That is not how rulers work. You have spent too much time with adults. Around them, the learning house had settled into the loose order Yasmin remembered. No one sat in rows. Work tables had been moved into small groups, according to what people were doing. A pair of older students near the broad windows were sorting field notes into a wooden rack. Someone farther back was arguing quietly over a length of cord. Wet coats hung by the entrance, darkening the pegs beneath them. Morning light came through old timber arches and broad panes, pale but clear, touching newer braces and dull-fitted metal without making the room feel new. Seren moved between the tables with her small book tucked under one arm. She rarely stopped a conversation merely because it was a conversation. She stopped hands from wandering toward tools they had not been shown how to use, feet from blocking the central aisle, and one boy from balancing the back legs of his stool over a stone floor. 4 legs, she told him. It has 4. Use all of them. The stool came down. Kessa glanced after Seren. She hears furniture planning crimes. Yasmin almost smiled. Almost was enough. The room continued behaving properly. A page turned after a hand touched it. A drawer knocked after someone pushed it closed. A student near the outer wall coughed, then apologized because the cough had startled the girl beside him. Cause, then consequence. Yasmin tried not to notice that she was noticing. Kessa nudged the ruler toward her. Your turn. Prove the line is guilty. Yasmin put 2 fingers on the wood. A bird called outside. 3 small notes, quick and clean, from somewhere above the nearest window. 1, 2, 3. Yasmin's fingers stopped. A thin wooden marker clattered to the floor behind Kessa. Someone laughed. Give it back. The words came from the far side of the next table. 2 boys stood there. Yasmin knew their faces in the ordinary way she knew many faces in the learning house without knowing much about the people behind them. One was a little taller, compact through the shoulders, with short, straight black hair and a rust-brown overshirt. The other was slightly smaller, loose dark curls above a blue-gray overshirt, one hand held near his chest, as though he had taken or caught something too quickly. I didn't take it, the smaller boy said. You have it. It rolled to me. A chair leg scraped. The taller boy stepped around the end of the table. The smaller boy backed once, still holding the small wooden marker. The taller boy caught him at the shoulder and shoved. It was not a dramatic blow. It was the kind of stupid, ordinary push that happened when anger moved faster than thought. The smaller boy's heel struck the low bench behind him. His balance went. He twisted, hit the bench edge with one leg, and came down hard on his left hand and right knee. Papers slid from the table. 2 wooden markers scattered after him. Kessa's stool scraped back. Someone gasped. Seren's voice cut cleanly through the room. Enough. Stay where you are. Yasmin was already moving. She came around the corner of her table as the fallen boy pulled his left hand toward his chest. His face had gone pale, with shock more than pain. The taller boy stood frozen, with both hands open, anger gone so quickly it seemed to have fallen with the other boy. Kessa was beside Yasmin. Seren crossed the aisle. The boy on the floor looked up. Then Kessa said, Yasmin? Yasmin stopped. The fallen boy was gone from the floor. Not gone. Standing. He was standing beside the next table, exactly where he had been before the push, his left hand unhurt and the wooden marker not yet in it. The taller boy was on the other side of the table. Seren was 3 workspaces away, listening to a student explain something with both hands. Kessa had not risen from her stool. The papers were still stacked. The 2 wooden markers were still on the tabletop, and the room had never become quiet. Yasmin remained half out of her seat with one hand braced against the table. Kessa looked from Yasmin's hand to her face. What? Yasmin turned toward the window. No bird called. The outer branch beyond the glass moved once in the wet morning air and settled. Her heart was beating too hard. She could feel it beneath her ribs, not as the strange pressure that had preceded the dawn strike, not as a pull, not as warmth. This was only fear, ordinary and fast. She looked at the 2 boys again. The taller one was saying something to another student. The smaller one was reaching toward the wooden markers. Neither had fallen. No one was hurt. No one else had heard Seren order the room still. But Yasmin could remember the exact sound of the boy's palm striking the floor. She could remember papers sliding. She could remember Kessa's stool scraping back. She could remember the shape the boy's mouth made before he knew whether to cry out. The memory was complete enough to belong to something that had happened. Nothing had happened. Kessa lowered her voice. Yasmin? Yasmin sat slowly. I thought I heard something. What? Yasmin stared at the wooden markers on the next table. I don't know. That was not true. She knew exactly what she had heard. She did not know when. For several breaths, the learning house refused to help her. Nothing repeated. Kessa waited, then let the question go. She drew the ruler back between them and put her finger on the crooked line. Still guilty, she said. Yasmin nodded because speaking required too much attention. At the next table, the 2 boys continued their ordinary morning. The taller one in the rust-brown overshirt leaned over a sheet of notes. The smaller one in blue-gray moved around him to reach the wooden markers. No one looked angry. No one looked dangerous. Yasmin watched them until she became aware that she was watching them. She forced her eyes down. The line on Kessa's page meant nothing to her now. A voice rose near the back wall. A stool shifted. Seren asked someone to bring a tray closer to the light. All of it happened once. Then the bird called. 3 small notes from above the window. 1, 2, 3. Every muscle in Yasmin's body tightened. The sound was identical. Not similar. Identical enough that she knew what came next before the 3rd note had finished. She turned. The thin wooden marker slid from the edge of the next table. Clatter. A student laughed. The taller boy looked up. Give it back. Yasmin stood so quickly her knee struck the underside of her own table. Kessa flinched at the sound. The smaller boy had the marker now. His fingers closed around it near his chest. I didn't take it, he said. Yasmin's mouth went dry. You have it. It rolled to me. A chair leg scraped. The taller boy started around the end of the table. Yasmin knew the next step. She knew where his shoulder would turn. She knew where the smaller boy would put his heel. She knew the low bench was behind him. She knew the sound his hand would make against the floor. Don't! The word tore out of her hard enough to silence 3 nearby conversations. The taller boy stopped for half a beat. So did the smaller one. Both looked at Yasmin. Kessa was already looking at her. For one wild instant, Yasmin thought she had broken it. The taller boy frowned. Don't what? Yasmin had no answer that would make sense. Just don't. The smaller boy gave a nervous laugh and held the marker out. Here, I said it rolled. The taller boy reached for it. The smaller boy pulled his hand back, perhaps because the movement came too quickly, perhaps because he was embarrassed by the attention now on them. The taller boy's face tightened. "Stop being stupid." His hand came up. Yasmin was moving before it landed. The push struck the smaller boy high on the shoulder. Because Yasmin had already crossed half the distance, she caught a fistful of blue-gray sleeve as he went backward. It was not enough to keep him standing. His heel hit the low bench. His balance went. But the grip changed the fall. He turned more sharply than he had in Yasmin's first experience of it, his shoulder missing the table edge. His left palm still struck the stone floor. His right knee came down after it with a hard, blunt sound. Papers slid. Wooden markers scattered. Kessa's stool scraped back. Someone gasped. Serene's voice crossed the room. "Enough. Stay where you are." The words were the same. That frightened Yasmin more than the fall. For a moment, she was standing inside two memories at once. The boy falling without her hand on him, and the boy falling now, with his sleeve twisted in her fingers. Then the present became too physical to mistake. The boy hissed through his teeth and pulled his left hand toward his chest. Yasmin let go of his sleeve and dropped beside him. "Don't move yet." He stared at her, more startled by her than by the floor. Wait." Kessa came around the table. She looked at the fallen boy, then at the taller one, then back at Yasmin. Seren arrived and crouched on the other side without wasting a word on blame. "Where?" she asked the boy. "Hand, knee. Head? No. Did you hit it?" "No." Seren's eyes moved over him, then to Yasmin's hand still hovering near his sleeve. "You caught him?" "A little." The taller boy had gone pale. "I didn't mean—" Seren lifted one hand without looking at him. "You will stay there until I speak to you." He stayed. The room had pretended to return to their own work while listening with their entire bodies. Yasmin could feel Kessa watching her. Not the fall. Her. Seren helped the fallen boy sit against the low bench and checked his left hand. A shallow scrape had opened along the heel of the palm. His right knee was already beginning to darken beneath the cloth where it had struck. "Can you move your fingers?" He did. "Wrist?" He turned it carefully and winced. Slowly. Yasmin knew what Seren would ask next, but not because she had heard it before. That difference should have comforted her. It did not. Kessa leaned closer. "You said don't," she whispered. Yasmin kept her eyes on the boy's scraped palm. "Yes." Before he touched him. Yasmin did not answer. Kessa's voice became even quieter. "Before he even lifted his hand." Across from them, Seren looked up. Her expression did not change, but she had heard. Seren finished with the injured boy before she asked Yasmin anything. That mattered. She brought him to the wash basin at the side of the room, cleaned the scrape on his left palm, checked the movement of his wrist again, and had him sit where his right knee could stay straight for a while. Another educator took the taller boy to a separate table on the far side of the learning house. There was no shouting, no public humiliation, no demand for a confession in front of everyone. The ordinary consequences of an ordinary shove came first. Only then did Seren return. "Kessa," she said. "Stay a moment. Yasmin, with me." Yasmin followed her to the quieter edge of the room near the broad windows. Kessa came too, slower now, humor gone from her face. Beyond the glass, wet branches moved above the covered walk. A few younger students crossed the courtyard under supervision, too far away to know that anything unusual had happened inside. Seren did not open with why. "Tell me what you saw," she said. Yasmin looked at the room behind her. The fallen boy sat with his scraped hand wrapped in a clean strip of cloth. The other boy was still separated. Students were returning to work in uneven stages, conversations restarting carefully as if volume itself might be punished. "They argued," Yasmin said. "Before you stood up?" The question was too precise. Yasmin looked back at Seren. "No." Seren nodded once. I didn't think so. I am asking because I want the order right. What happened before you stood? Yasmin heard the bird again in memory. 3 notes. The marker. The laugh. Give it back. A bird called. Seren waited. Then a marker fell. Someone laughed. And then? Yasmin could have lied by making the sequence shorter. She could have said she saw the boys getting angry and guessed what would happen. That would have given Seren something ordinary to write down, and given Yasmin somewhere ordinary to hide. Kessa would know. Not everything. Enough. Then he asked for the marker back, Yasmin said. Seren's eyes sharpened slightly. Before you said don't? Yes. That was true in the second time, not in the first. Seren turned to Kessa. What did you hear? Kessa folded her arms, then unfolded them. The bird, the marker, them talking. Yasmin stood up. She said don't. Had he raised his hand? No. Had he moved toward the other boy? Kessa thought carefully. Yasmin loved her a little for taking the question seriously instead of rushing to protect her. He was coming around the table, Kessa said, but not like the push yet. Yasmin was moving before that. Seren looked at Yasmin again. Did either boy tell you they were going to fight? No. Did you hear a threat before you stood? No. Did someone else warn you? No. Had you seen them do this before? No. Seren's questions were not cruel. That almost made them worse. Each one removed a place Yasmin might have hidden without having to lie. Seren glanced down at the small book in her hand, but did not write yet. Could you see the bench behind him from where you were sitting? Yes. Could you see that he might fall if someone pushed him? Yes. That might explain knowing the fall would be dangerous. It does not explain knowing there would be a push. Yasmin said nothing. Kessa's eyes moved to her. Seren let the silence sit without filling it. I am not asking you to name something you don't understand, she said at last. I am asking whether there is an ordinary piece of this I have missed. Yasmin's throat tightened. There were many pieces Seren had missed. The dawn strike that Yasmin had felt before it sounded. The clay cup she had heard strike stone while it was still falling. The mornings when the world seemed to put pressure beneath her ribs before giving anyone else a reason to be afraid. She had told almost none of that properly. She had become skilled at waiting for a better moment. Better moments had a habit of arriving after the choice had already been made. Seren's gaze remained steady. Yasmin? I don't know what it is. That is not what I asked. Yasmin looked down at her hands. The left one was empty. The right was curled against the edge of her over-tunic. Did you know he was going to push him? Seren asked. Yasmin forced herself to look up. Yes. Kessa inhaled softly. Seren's voice stayed level. How? There was no good sentence. Every true answer opened into another thing Yasmin had not told. Every false answer would make Kessa a witness against her, without Kessa ever choosing to be one. Yasmin looked past Seren toward the boy with the wrapped hand. She had seen him fall once when no one else had. Then she had watched him fall again. It already happened. Seren did not move. Kessa did not speak. Outside the window, water slipped from one leaf to another and dropped only when it reached the edge. Seren was silent long enough that Yasmin began to wish she had chosen a worse answer. A worse answer could have been dismissed. It already happened, Seren repeated, not as accusation, but as a way of making sure the words had been heard correctly. Yasmin nodded. Before it happened here? Another nod. Kessa stared at the floor for a moment, then at Yasmin. She looked frightened now, but not of Yasmin. The difference was small and enormous. Seren opened her book. She wrote only a few lines. Yasmin watched the movement of the pencil. She could not see the words from where she stood. She was grateful for that. "I am going to record what I can defend," Seren said. "You warned before the shove." Kessa confirms that. "You moved toward the boy before the shove. That is also witnessed. You say you had already experienced the event. I cannot verify that part." Yasmin's face burned. "I know. Do you?" The question was gentler than it sounded. Yasmin looked at her. Seren closed the book. Not believing an explanation is not the same as ignoring an event. Kessa shifted beside Yasmin. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now the boy with the injured hand rests until I am satisfied he can use it safely. The other boy answers for pushing him. The room goes back to work." Seren looked at Yasmin. "And I speak to Beta." The words struck harder than Yasmin expected. "Do you have to?" "Yes. I am fine. This is not only about whether you are hurt. Nothing happened to me." Seren's expression softened without surrendering the point. "You moved to stop an injury before the action that caused it. Either there is an ordinary explanation I have not found, or there is something your mother should know I witnessed. Both paths end with me telling her the facts." Yasmin wanted to argue. She also knew exactly how Beta would sound if another adult had seen something strange happen around one of her daughters and decided not to mention it. "Facts only?" Yasmin asked. "Facts only. Not what you think it was." "I do not know what it was." That answer steadied Yasmin more than reassurance would have. Seren looked toward Kessa. "You may tell me later if you remember something different. Do not improve the story for Yasmin's sake." Kessa's eyebrows rose. "I wasn't planning to." "Good. I was planning to improve her mood." Seren's mouth almost moved. "That is outside my present investigation." The word investigation made Kessa glance at Yasmin, but Seren had already turned back toward the room. "Both of you. Work." They returned to their table. Normality did not resume all at once. It came back in pieces. A chair scraped. Yasmin flinched, then hated herself for flinching. A drawer closed. Nothing followed. Someone laughed near the far wall. Nothing followed that either. The injured boy was eventually moved to a more comfortable seat. His wrapped hand rested on the table while he worked one-handed and complained whenever anyone tried to help too much. The boy who had shoved him remained subdued after his conversation with the other educator. No one became a villain. No one became a symbol. By the time the first work period shifted toward the next, the room had already begun turning the incident into something that had happened earlier. Yasmin could not. Kessa drew a clean line across a fresh sheet of paper. "The ruler has decided to behave," she said. Yasmin looked at it. Maybe it was frightened by Seren. Kessa let out a breath that almost became a laugh. "There. You are still in there." Yasmin's smile came and went. For a while they worked. Kessa did not ask what Yasmin meant by "already happened." That lasted nearly 10 minutes. "I am trying very hard," Kessa whispered finally. "At what?" "Not asking." "How is it going?" "Badly." Yasmin kept her eyes on the page. Kessa lowered her voice further. "You don't have to tell me everything." Yasmin's hand stopped. "I can't." "Can't or won't?" Yasmin thought of Henna leaving that morning with questions, of Beta's face when evidence refused to become ordinary, of all the moments she had postponed because she wanted certainty first. Both. Kessa considered that. Then she nodded. All right. No demand, no bargain, no promise that she understood. Just all right. Yasmin looked at her. You believe me? Kessa's brow creased. I believe you said don't before he pushed him. I believe you were already moving. I believe you looked terrified before anyone else knew there was a reason to be. That is not the same thing. No. Kessa looked down at the ruler. But it is what I have. Yasmin almost told her then. Not everything, just the cup, the sound before the impact, enough to make this morning feel less impossible. A bird called outside. 3 quick notes. 1, 2, 3. Yasmin's whole body locked, her hand clamped around the edge of the table. Kessa turned at once. What? Yasmin did not answer. She waited for the wooden marker to fall. It did not. She waited for laughter. Someone across the room cleared his throat. She waited for the words, "Give it back." A page turned. She waited for a chair leg to scrape. Seren walked past the end of another table and said something too quiet to hear. Nothing repeated. Outside, the bird called once more, a different pattern this time, and flew from the branch above the window. Its small brown-gray body crossed a strip of pale sky and vanished behind the roofline. Kessa watched Yasmin's fingers slowly loosen from the table. The bird? She asked. Yasmin nodded. Was that? No. The answer came too quickly. Kessa waited. Yasmin swallowed. I don't think so. That was worse. Before, the impossible thing had frightened her because it arrived early. Now, an ordinary sound could frighten her simply because it might be first. The room continued around her. Paper moved after hands touched it. Chairs scraped after feet pushed them. Voices followed breath. Cause kept finding consequence in the proper order. Yasmin watched every one. Nothing happened. She did not know when to stop waiting.